All right, welcome to the Action Martial Arts Power Hour. This is the show we talk about anything and everything martial arts related. We try our best to bring you the best, and Alan's the man that brings it all to the table. Alan, the floor is yours.
Here we are once again. How you doing, everybody? Wonderful to have you here. We got a special show tonight. We have a special guest, which we're excited about. He's a martial artist, but he's also very, very much involved with the movie industry and the martial art industry also. He's got some great stories, and Del and I didn't know each other very well, and I think the first time we met, I was a little put off because I'm funny around new people until I get to know them. So, but we became friends over the years, and hey, he's my type of guy. Well, first thing I want to talk about. I want to say everything's doing great. This week, I've got on our Wing Chun magazine, I've got a report back that we were the biggest seller of martial art magazines on Amazon, and of my partner Don Werner, his 10 titles, we beat out every title, even his best of titles, by 2-1. So it just went crazy, and I kind of had a feeling it was happening, but until you get the numbers back from Amazon, you don't know what to do. But we were very excited, and I was very bored as usual on the weekend, sitting home. Now the COVID's over, so we're starting to move a little more. But I was sitting home, and I came up with an idea. He says, one of my greatest factors in this martial art industry was that I was able to bring something to people as my event. We get thousands of people coming through the front door with our banquet and everything else. So I had an idea, because I'm very friendly with most of these quote-unquote movie star Hollywood guys. And I said, wow, I'm doing this Wing Chun magazine. What about doing Hollywood martial art magazine? So I threw a little thing together artwork-wise, and I sent it to my partner, and he looks at it, and he goes, holy crap, I wanted to do this all the time. He goes, but you got all the contacts, the access, whatever. So now we have a new magazine coming out approximately less than a month, and it's going to be Hollywood martial arts, and we're using the top word Hollywood. We're using the Hollywood sign directly, and underneath it would say martial arts. So it'll look great. The first issue is going to be a banger. It's going to be great. On my front cover this time, we have my good friend, buddy, Chuck Zito. And we're looking for good photos now to work on it. It's going to be great. And something I could announce, and I love it very much so, is I have my good friend here, Vincent's going to be on the magazine. Did his interview today, and we're setting it all up. And it's good to give guys like this, because Vinny's just want to, listen, he's from New York, so I got to love him anyway. But we got to give a guy like Vinny some props. And this is going to be big. This magazine is probably going to be one of the biggest martial art magazines ever to come along. We're approaching this differently, and we're bringing the martial arts into Hollywood, Hollywood into martial arts. We also got Hank Garrett in this issue. I didn't know Vinny didn't know this yet, but we got Hank Garrett's coming. Then I have Arcamacho. He's going to be in the magazine also. And we're talking to a few other people for the 5th article. I have something, a little surprise. We're talking to a guy who's, I don't want to give the name yet because we have to finalize it, a military guy that went into the MMA and became a movie star on top of it. So we got something really cool going on with that. But we already have 5 covers set up. We have the Chuck Zito cover. We have Isaac Florentine will be on the 2nd cover. We have Don Wilson, the 3rd cover, Cynthia Rothrock, and then Carrie Tagawa. And we are going to cover anyone and everyone we can. We're even going to give a little bit to the guys that are not up there yet. We're making a section that is going to be called Director's Cut. And I'm going to have 4 or 5 pages dedicated to those guys. And it's going to be about what they're doing in their life now, and what this new coming guy, who's the new hottest star that's going to make it. Because we want to give out to everybody. And if people know who I am, I always give. I'm the type of guy that wants to help people as much as I can. So look out for this. It'll be on Facebook and everywhere else I can put it up. We have some great things. It'll be out many different news outlets. We're putting out 160,000 emails with downloads. And then you can buy it on Amazon too. So we got some great things happening down the road here. Another little shout out, I just this weekend we had Seafood Cliffs event in Atlantic City. I heard it went very well. Wish them a lot of luck. There's a lot of other events coming up very soon, so keep your eyes open. Everyone's happy to get out, take the mask off, and go the hell outside again. But now I want to go off and start the show. And I want to bring a guy that I made friends with many years ago. I went to his first show. He was in Long Beach, actually. And it was a great show. And I want to bring him in now, my friend Weston and our co-host Vinny.
All right, everybody's with us now.
Hey guys,
everybody was kung fu fighting, right? Anybody, but Del runs. I guess I look at him like compare him to a lot of things like I've done. I mean, he's run a show.
Yeah, we're kind of like the same coin, dude. I mean, I went to your event. And I was so, I got to tell you something. When the martial arts is the most backbiting group of people in the world, man. You're gonna have all these infights and all this, that, drama and nonsense, right? But I went to your event, and two things happened that blew my mind. First of all, I walked in, you were so gracious and so kind, and we didn't hit it off on the wrong foot. Here's what happened. When you came to Long Beach, I was taping the interviews, and it was Bill Wallace, right? And they were all in that little room, and I was taping these interviews, and he kept fooling around. And I was in a very short time. I said, hey.
That's what he does.
So he starts making a joke, and then I wasn't joking anymore. And he goes, oh, you're one of those guys. And I said, yeah. I just need to tape the interview, sir. I don't have time for this. And so I wasn't trying to be nasty, but what happened was I was running the 3 or 4 other events, and I wasn't totally doing the taping, but the interviewer guy that they had didn't show up. So I went and did it. So I'm stretching, man, and it was a lot of stuff, but your event was so gracious, and I felt so warm, and something really beautiful happened there. I was walking through the first day, and I guess you had a couple of people who were working there with you, a couple of girls. One had tattoos, one was kind of like a little pixie character. And the one came up to her, she smiled, and I smiled back. I go, well, this could be interesting. We get a whole weekend here. This is going to be great. And then the second day, she came up to me again, and she smiled, and I said, hi. And she was, hi, it's just a pleasure to meet you. I said, that's great, And the third day, she says, listen, I'm leaving on Sunday. She said, hey, listen, I got to get a picture with you, because my family won't believe that you were here, and I just really need to get a picture. Is it okay? And I said, yeah, that's what this is. I said, wow, because I am somebody. So she takes a picture, and she kind of squeezes me. She gets close. She puts her little leg next to me, and then she's holding. She did a picture. She goes, to be so close to King Kong Bundy.
Oh my God, that's because I did. That's great.
I swear, get away from me.
I had him listed that he was coming that year.
I was so
That's funny,
man. Oh,
that's funny. Hey, Alan, how many years has the event been going on?
My event or
Del's? Your event.
My event is going to be through the process of the Covert. This will be the 22nd year, but the 21st event.
Guess what I found?
wow.
Let me see if I can put this the right way.
Oh, yeah, my coin. Yeah.
You know what this is? And can you see this? Look, guys, read this. That's 10
can't
years.
read it.
10 years.
wow.
10 years. This is from your the 10th anniversary.
Anniversary, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I've
on
had
the anniversary, we get scraps of paper and told people to sign until they become good when they're.
But
Well, Alan, Alan's
you,
thing is so much love. He's got so much love at his event, and he's only had a couple of people that he didn't like, and they never checked out at a hotel in Atlantic City. We don't know what happened. But,
I don't know. You got
there.
the ocean there. Things happen, Vinny. Things happen.
Yeah.
You know this.
they don't
My point
realize
was you had
Florida
everybody
is
there.
right there.
And you were so gracious to me, and I said to myself, this is the last King event. And that's why when you see what we try to do with AOF, it grows every single year. And now that we got Dr. Bob and everyone else, I mean, Michael DePasquale was just huge in building this thing, and still is. But my position was that you did something that was lasting. So I was there, and I was watching you. Like, what's this? And I'm watching you and watching you. I'm like, what's wrong with this? Nothing. I'm just observing. And because if anyone was smart and they're younger, what they would do is find someone like you and watch. And just observe how you act, how you treat people, how you run your business, how you deal with. That's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because a guy like you, you're going to last a very, 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 very long time. It's like a perpetual motion machine. A thing in motion tends to stay in motion. But younger people don't understand. If you don't have a basis in quality or experience for skill and what you're doing, it doesn't last long. Mm-hmm. And you've been around a long time. So I want to emulate that, and I want to take my hat off to you, sir. So yeah, there was no friction between you and me. It was just a student to the master. It's simple as that.
Well,
don't agree with me so quickly.
We did make friends after that. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago we were in Dr. Bob's bedroom, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It wasn't a bedroom. It was like a suite with couches, whatever. And we were in the back room, and I got accused of something that I didn't do, and they said we were in the back doing bad things. And
I want to clarify that because
it wasn't that bad.
No, I heard the same thing. I brought 2 ladies to the party, and we were doing some other things. There was a lot of people there, but it was so full that we went in the back with this big suite to talk. All right, it was a very crowded party, and it was Annabelle Monroe and Natalia Dodd. And someone said later that Del brought 2 prostitutes to the party.
Right.
And see, this is what I mean by that Mishigosh martial arts nonsense.
But
someone would say something that's stupid, but they won't say it to me, and that's the problem.
Who said it, and we'd either believe it.
I'm not saying names because it didn't come from his lips or their lips to me personally. I'm asking them, please say it to me.
Yeah,
say it.
Right.
All you got to do is just come to me and say, Del.
Well, we all know that'll be a big stretch. You know, you have people that are in the background. They chitter chatter, but they will never say it to your face, Del.
Well,
that's the problem.
Yeah,
and that's why I like Alan will be around for a long time, and I'll be around for a long time because we will simply put things the way they are and not run from what we say. It's as simple as that.
Sure.
But the name starts with an F and a D. So let's put it. And Vinny is still waiting.
Frank and Delano Roosevelt out of this, sir.
Well, Vinny's still waiting from the tapes from Mars anyway. We haven't got them yet.
What? You got Star Trek that Captain Kirk is looking for this stuff. You can't find it.
You guys are crazy.
Del, in case you didn't see it, this is actually came off the Mars rover, and it's got all the official fights that were supposedly lost that nobody has seen. So we got it. We're going to play it, but the power source won't be here for 27 light years that functions this particular piece of equipment.
And just so you know, the capacity of that,
hang in there.
But the capacity of that storage unit you have there is not gigabytes, it's not megabytes. I think it's about 10 kilobytes, right? 10 KB. There's probably a picture, a little teeny tiny
I don't
video.
know what you're referencing, but I do know that it was an interesting looking little thing you had in your hand.
Yeah, it's got a Medal of Honor sticking right out of the side.
What's wrong with you?
And the Navy Cross too.
Oh yeah, and that admiral thing.
And some of my friends about that. They don't even get those guys started when they start talking about that.
Oh yeah, forget about it.
Well, listen, we got to talk. We're talking about our fun, and we have fun again. We don't know what we're doing, but it turns out good anyway. But I wanted to tell people a little bit what Del has done in his career and what he's actually producing right now. Del started off, again, I started off very small. We didn't know what we were doing. I think my first event, I walked in and I almost cried because I didn't know how it turned out that good the first time out. But I went to Del's event in 2005. It was a great event. It was attached to another event. Del had and Del had a great turnout with nice people there. I had a great day. I was with Bill Wallace and a bunch of other great stars.
No, Bill's great. Everything was great. I'm just saying, it was so much stuff because remember that we used to invite the martial artists into our award show dinner at the end of the night, right? Yeah, so you'd have 2,000 people in that room, and that room overlooks the Queen Mary. Yeah. It's called the Crystal Room. So it was an event, and we had a trade show on the floor, and then they had the tournament, and then the martial arts films upstairs. It was really nice.
And I stayed in the Queen Mary that week, and I thought it was phenomenal. It was a great place to stay.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. But, I was involved also with the Black Belt event at the same weekend. I was a consultant for that. So, to me, I was in awe just hanging out with the people I knew already. But Del ran this event, and I had to be honest with you. It was very nice, even though I know – what year was that you were into already?
We started in 2005, and we went from 2005 to 7 as part of the Long Beach Internationals.
Okay.
But the guy we were working with later went behind my back and their bank account for Action on Film and tried to take the event away. And I said, "Are you on your mind?" Moved the first 3 years to Pasadena. We stayed there between Pasadena and Monrovia for another 10 years. And then we moved to Vegas in 2017. I got to tell you, I wish I'd moved to Vegas a lot sooner. So this year we're with a company called the Galaxy Boulevard Theaters. We've got 6 screens running for the entire week. We've got 19 film festivals and 23 original events, including Dr. Robert Goldman and Michael DePasquale's Icon Awards. and legendary stunts. We've got huge guests coming in this year. We just announced, I think you know Jesse Bowen and Jim Chong. We just announced a book show, a giant authors fair at the festival during the week, July 26th through the 31st. And then we also have some really great events and films coming up and seminars, so people can come and have fun. But one thing we did, I'll talk to you about it, was I was in the mall where the event's being held. There's a big comic book store there called Poor Boy Comics. And in 3 days, using Harry Mock, Robert Goldman, Poor Boy Comics, and Daniel Baldwin, we're throwing a little mini Comic-Con and signing day. And we're going to have the great Jeff Lunzaga bringing out all of his kits and builds for the Batman cars and all these things with these other people. So we're going to kind of take over that area and expand this thing. So Dr. Bob was gracious enough to bring some great guests and celebrities out, and we're going to be doing some great things there. So it's going to be a really good show. You can get more information at actiononfilmfest.com.
Very cool.
Actiononfilmfest.com, and find out about all the festivals and shows and people involved. And it's coming up, and I hope you guys will come out and check it out and make sure passes are available for everyone. It's just going to be a good show.
Yeah, and I got to say, Del again, just we have a big martial art audience always watching the show. It is not just a martial art event. It has martial art attached to it.
It's everything.
He has everything involved. Comedy, dramas, sci-fi, westerns, whatever. He has all different type of movies. As a matter of fact,
we'll show 750 movies in that 6 days over 18, 19 different film festivals that all have a different focus. Like Newsfest is for news stories, TMIF is for the highest quality films, Hollywood Dreams is for the Hollywood type of feel, Miracle Makers is for new filmmakers, music and dance, and the new cinemas for urban kind of a thing. And you just conquering disabilities for people who have mental challenges or disabilities in their life that are emotional. And so we've got everybody kind of together when we show all these things, and we break down the difference between the public and having access to everything with regards to industry, production, film, movies, TV, stage, and everything else in between. That's where we're going.
You said emotional. You have Frank Zoo coming?
Here we go.
Whatever.
Listen, I got to tell you something. I attacked Ed Parker one night. Okay, so my instructor was a guy named Frank Trejo, and I was with him for almost 30 years. I was with James Zabrow for 12 years, Seafood James Zabrow, and then my ground fighting was through Larry Landless and a few other guys. And one day, Mr. Parker was doing a seminar, and I walked in, and he kind of looked at me for a second. He was kind of cool with me. He looked at me, he goes, "You doubt me?" I said, "Yeah, I do." That was such an a-hole. I was just such a jerk-off, man. And so he walks by, it's about 30 guys in the room, and he goes, "You remind me of Tom Jones." And then he tapped me on the jaw. And this is in 1981, I think. 83, that's when it was. So the class is going on, and I'm standing there on the left side, and all of a sudden my left shoulder just died. I couldn't move it. And then my left arm, and then my hip, and then my leg. And I found myself sliding like this, but I'm standing on my right, but I'm sliding over like this. And the longer it goes, I can't feel my left side of my body. I go, what the heck just happened? So he lets me finally start to almost fall. It's about 12 minutes while he's teaching it. And people, they were like, oh my God. Then he came by and he hit me on the other side. And everything came back. He said, "Never doubt me again." And I was like, what? So I had to find out what that stuff was, which led to a whole journey to Boston and New York and all this stuff, looking at that nonsense that what's his name?
Dillman.
The pressure point. Man. You know what I'm talking about.
George Dillman.
Listen, nobody knows it, but I met with a beautiful man named Gary Gioni out of Crown Pound, New York. He owns Elite Defensive. He was a partner of mine. We shot a documentary on Q Show, and we never showed anybody, and we're about to bring it out.
Really?
And now it's because they had 90-pound women knocking 400-pound men 10 feet across the room. I said, "Listen, let's not get too crazy."
Del, make it into an article. I know where you can put it.
Okay. It's here, man. I got everything. It's all sitting here. But that's the kind of thing we were doing. I wanted to find out what was real, what wasn't real, what was great and what wasn't great. And I did. It took me 35 years, but.
Did you go to the Kumite, the original one in the Bahamas?
What's that?
Did you go to the Kumite in the Bahamas?
No. I'll tell you where I did go. The Gathering of Eagles in Las Vegas at the Trade Center.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just an asshole. That's all.
I want to say, Del.
Yeah.
Del, I know that I had posted it a couple of times. First off, I hadn't talked to you in a while. I did wanted to say thank you again because I did receive an award from Del and Dr. Bob at the AOF in 2019 with Billy Blanks and Michael and a few other people. And Del was absolutely gracious.
You have
wonderful.
No room. You have no more room behind you, Vin. You're packed. You get all stuff behind you packed.
We got to go to films now. Movies.
That was probably one of the best years of inductees into that Icon Award. It really was something special.
That was great.
I learned one thing. Never let the award winner speak for more than 18 minutes on the stage. I learned that.
Yeah.
Wow.
18 minutes.
Del,
Holy. Everybody had to
Who was that?
Del, here's the problem with that.
Yeah.
My event, people say, why don't you let your people give the award say something? I said, because we'll be there all night, and the hotel wants people gambling after 6 hours on the floor. I mean, they don't want to hear it. And I hear events go off, and they got guys in the microphone till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I had that with Dave Toma one time, and he was talking and talking. My God,
I love Dave.
I mean, he's a great guy, but talking, and that lasted like about 15, 20 minutes that time.
I had to pull him with the hook off stage.
Yeah, you did.
But what's exciting is people get there and they're finally being validated and appreciated and loved and honored, and it's just such an amazing thing. It's hard to say to them, okay, listen, keep it under 2 minutes, please, because people appreciate that. But when
That's what I do.
Your cousins, daughters, friends, neck accident from 1971 and the ensuing drama, come on. Come on.
Well, I got my black belt in 1969. Like, who cares, But what we do now is when people come off my stage, I set up a guy doing an interview, and he has it on camera, and he gives people a few minutes just to say something.
Oh, yeah.
We have
that. Gotta have it, yeah.
Right. We do a documentary as itself as the event is on, but I don't let anyone on my microphone, basically, because we'll be there until next week. And
listen, we let them speak, but the problem is, there's so many people to honor, and you want to give everyone an opportunity. And then the other part of it is, there's a really great actress, and I love her. Oh, my God, I love her. Her name is Deborah Carr Unger. And you remember her. She was the wife, the girlfriend in Highlander with Christopher Lambert. She was in The Game with Michael Douglas. She was in Hurricane with the great Denzel Washington. Beautiful woman. So she got one of our awards in 2016. And so I was talking to her wonderful manager, and she's just great. I mean, you got some really big people out there. So she shows up, and she's this tiny little, oh, my God, I got a great picture with her. And she's shaking, so she takes my hand, and she says, Del, and this is funny because I don't know her. I've talked to her on the phone, to her manager, but never met her. And she's just such a wonderful woman. And so she said, hey, Del, and she's shaking, right? And all actresses have this down because they're all actresses. But you think it's real because you're an idiot like me. So she's shaking, and she takes my hand. We're taking pictures. She says, Del, and I said, yeah. She's like, problem. I said, what's wrong, Deborah? She said, I have a speech, and it's a few pages long. I said, how many? She goes, it's a little long. And I said, well, let me see it. And she pulls it out, and it's like 14 pages written. Right?
It was a memoir.
I'm looking at it, and then she looks at me. And I was going to say, can you cut it down? And then she looks at me. She looked right in the eyes. And I said, that's all? She got up. Dude, it was amazing. She read, and everyone was just in. She did something for my audience that night that I'll never see again. And it was beautiful, but I'll never let anybody do that again.
What you should have done is just tell you were King Kong Bundy. Let me go find Bill.
At your event, when I got next to Billy, he got the award. He was on the other end, and we were all shaking hands and taking pictures. I said, Master Blanks, I just wanted to say hello and thank you so much for costing me 5 hours of my life. And he says, what are you talking about? I said, because every time you had to teach that Thai bowl on Ventura, my ride up Ventura was an hour and a half long because Billy's teaching. So there's 3,000 people out in the street. I said, so every time you wanted to come and guest teach, I got to wait in traffic. So thank you so much.
Billy's great, and it's funny because no one knows what I said to him when he got on the stage, right? Everyone said, what were you talking to him about when he got his award, right? And when he came to the stage, he's the greatest guy in the world. I said, hey, Billy, how you doing? I'm Del Weston. We hadn't even talked, right? And everybody's watching, and Dr. Bob, I go, remember 20 years ago when you wouldn't shake my hand? I swear.
Oh, man.
He gave me this look. I said, hey, bro, it's cool. But that happened in 2019. And that's why so many martial artists fight each other, because they got great memories. And they're always working off those 20-year-old memories, right? But I just said, hey, remember me 20 years ago? And he laughed, and I laughed. It was the greatest thing, man. But we get such fantastic people. And Dr. Bob and Michael DePasquale just bring the heat. And then this year, Harry Mock became very instrumental in getting some of the award winners. So we want to throw a little love out to Harry Mock and his group.
Yeah, I was.
But they're all going to be there.
Before the show went on, I was just trying to call Harry too, because we speak.
Yeah, but he's coming out. I think we have we've got a lot of older stars coming out this year too, and of course the standbys. But Eric Roberts has a brand new film out by Nico Santucci, I believe his name. He's a great director here in Vegas. And the film stars Eric Roberts. I got to tell you, it's a return to the old Eric Roberts that we used to see.
Yeah.
So
let me tell you,
I hope he'll show up and do it.
He's a great guy. I did a film with him.
Everybody says how great he is. Yeah.
And let me tell you, he's like just a regular guy when you hang out with him. You know, very nice. I actually broke a fight up between him and Gary Busey on the set.
Wow.
And that was wild. Gary Busey was cool. But we had a good time on the set after that was all over.
Yeah. Off camera, I'll tell you guys a story.
Okay. All right. No problem.
And it involves the guy you keep talking about who you've seen. I don't have a problem. But you got the problem. That guy.
Who your friend is?
I'll give you a combination of names that should never have ever been combined. I'll tell you the story. So it takes the guy you keep talking about, which I will not say the names. I'm not mentioning in anything other than face to face, and Jeff Speakman, who's coming this year.
Okay, good.
Zane Frazier, who used to be a UFC fighter, great guy, right?
He's not the guy with the brass knuckles, is he? All right.
You know what? After I tell you the story, it's a story you guys have never heard before, but it will define a lot of the martial arts for you. But it combines the Russian Rocket Federation, your favorite guy, Zane Frazier, and Jeff Speakman. Believe it or not.
Well, actually, I know the story because you told it to me once already.
You're definitely
a year ago. But I definitely want to hear it again. So Vinny,
man.
But anyway,
so they're all coming out. We're going to have a great time. And again, the martial arts is a great community when it works. And we did a thing years ago, which I don't know if you guys know that. It was called the Battle of Los Angeles. I was hired to promote this huge martial arts event. And what they were trying to do was this was a precursor to what AOF is going to be in the future. What we did was we called all the guys who hated each other, right? Lou Casamassa, right, from Red Dragon. And then we got Cortez. We got all these guys who just hated each other. And we said, hey, we're having an event. And we want to honor you, just you, right? And so they thought they were coming with and when they got there, all these other people, it was huge. I got pictures. I'm sending you guys pictures. They're fantastic.
It sounds like a warrant party they do in Brooklyn to get people locked up.
Well, here's what it became a huge tournament. It's at the Hollywood Park Casino, believe it or not. So at the show, I had been doing business with Mr. Parker right before he died. I'd gone to a couple of meetings with him and Joe Kaufenberg. He was working on a deal. And I was just a guy who was hanging around, but I had a little business savvy and I had some little common sense. I knew promo. So he took me to a couple of meetings. It was nice and asked me with Frank and another guy who owned a tortilla factory or something. So we were all hanging out with Mr. Parker at these meetings. So it ends up, he dies, and the Battle of LA is the very next year. And I had gone to Ms. Parker, and I said, hey, I'd like to do some video at the internationals this year, and I'd like to. She says, oh, well, let me talk to a few people. So she talked to a cat named Tommy Chavez, who was a Kempo guy. And Tommy said, well, Dell's not a good guy. He's a scumbag. And I used to study under Tommy. I was like, well, that's kind of strange. That's an interesting comment that she would make. But I never said another word. I'm cool with it, So that ended. And then a year and a half later, Mr. Parker dies. And I'm having this Battle of Los Angeles. And Mr. Parker sitting in the audience. So I'm on the stage. There's maybe 400 or 500 people in the audience. And I say, excuse me. I know everybody says that Mr. Parker died, but he's not dead. I can turn around and see him right there, sitting right next to his wife. And he's holding her and he loves her. And the whole room turned around. And then I leave the stage. They continue the show, and her son Nalo says, "Hey, she wants to talk to her." I said, "No, I don't think I want to talk to her. I don't need to be insulted again today." But I realized she was an older woman who'd been suffering. I couldn't be cruel. So I went over and talked to her. She said, "That was a very kind word that you said, a very kind thing." And I said, "Yeah." And thank you very much for that. That's very nice of you to say. I said, you didn't have kind words from me, 2 years ago, but a year ago. That's kind, but that's nice. I don't hold a grudge. And I thought to myself in that moment, if everyone in the martial arts could just forgive one other person who they really have been wronged by, what can we do for the generation coming after us? Because it's that martial arts idea that has ruined sport karate and made UFC the champion. Because we talk about respect and we talk about this, but we got to understand there's a generation behind us that's coming up, and they don't need all this nonsense, right?
Yeah, it all has to start somewhere, Del. It has to start somewhere.
And right now we can do that, right? We can, because you guys are powerhouses, man. And I know that we got to get rid of the frauds. There's no question about that. They got to go. Mm-hmm. And when they're showing up, I don't mind calling them out.
We're sending them to the Rover, right, Ben?
Yeah, I'm dialing it up right now. I got the clicker for it.
Let's call up the Rover. Okay.
Yeah, but it was so nice to see that, man. And I get that feeling from the three of you guys, right? I get that feeling from Dr. Bob that someone wants to do something better for everybody, right? And that's why I'm such a proponent of the martial arts in entertainment. So your magazine, I think, is going to be a brilliant thing. And I'm going to ask you, if you want, I have writers and reporters. I'll ask them to do stories on anybody that's here for your magazine as a gift that's coming to my show. You understand? So you'll have exclusive stories with these people. And if you have your own writers you want them focused on, I'll make sure there's contact for our stars to your writers so you can have great profiles from this upcoming event. And then we'll provide you with the pictures from our event so you actually have stuff that you can show. And
I'm open. I have to be honest with you. It's like everything else we like. This show, we have no idea what we're doing.
You do a pretty good job of it, though.
And I know something's going to come out of Ben. Benny, don't do it. I can't put that back in there. I can't put Godzilla back in.
But it has to do almost with the magazine. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but I have an idea. So we're going to make it work. That's all
Absolutely.
I can say. All the help.
And I do want to talk to you, too, about our technique competition. What we're doing, it's a very unique thing. Actors have reels, right? And singers have songs that they recorded, but martial artists only have techniques to show. But they never can compete with those techniques for prizes and awards outside martial arts tournaments. Mm-hmm. But the real story is that there's producers out there and directors who are looking for these people. So we're creating this deal where martial artists can submit their best technique, just a 30-second technique, and be in competition to win prizes for how good you are.
Yeah, there you go.
Across the board, any technique, any system. And then that will bring all these people together every single year. And we're kind of recreating something a little bit bigger, which I'll let you guys in on. But just remember this, 4 years ago, we were only 3 tournaments. 3 festivals. This year, we're 19 festivals and 23 events. Within 2 years, will be 50 festivals, all held at the same 10 period. So we're building something.
And Del, what you just did when you offered that to Alan, this is what Alan does for other people. And again, this is where this stuff starts. When you start,
I know, that's my point. That's why
you start helping each other because we need to.
That's all it is, man.
Yeah.
I called Alan the other day, and you know what he said? The first thing he said, he goes, "How can I help you?" And I knew he wasn't being arbitrary. He was saying, what can I do to make your business, make your family stronger, better, and happy?
He goes over the top to help people, and a lot of times it doesn't come back. And, the times that it does, it becomes something more beautiful. Okay, so I'm glad that you did that.
Yeah. That's what we're going to do. And I'll tell you something. I'm even going to have an action star named Shannon Murray, Alan Goldberg. She had a beautiful film called Ragdoll. I hired her to come out and do interviews during the show. I'm going to have, if you give her tag, I'll have her do exclusive interviews for our people with your tag on them. Just send me your logo. Got it? Because I want to help you build the magazine. I want to thank you for what you did for me because you showed me the way where other people didn't. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't, and you said we don't know what we're doing. We're the guinea pigs who went out there and got our fingers busted, lost our lawsuits, got threatened at the back of an alley and said, let's go. We're the guys who did that, literally, so that someone else could do it easier. And I'm grateful for it, man.
Hey, Del. I tried everything because I always say to people very nicely, me, I'm not a tough guy, but my friends are fucking tough. You understand? I go anywhere. These guys that are going to watch my
But the thing is, doing the right thing is easy to do. Doing the wrong thing takes so much effort. So why put the effort into that when you can put the effort into doing the right thing? That's
there's this guy that when I came to New York, they wanted help with a movie, right? He goes, we're going to help with your festival. We're going to do this. I said, listen, that's all great. So when I got to Alan's show, the guy was there. And we sit down. I talked to him once. So he sits to the meeting, and he goes, and I think you know who he is. I forgot his name, but I think you know who he is. And he says, what's your date of birth? I go, hey, you want my social security card number 2? My wife's panty size? Who are you? And what he wanted was, he was pretending to want to help the festival and do all these things, but he had a Russian film called Sparta that he wanted to help get distribution for. I said, listen,
Yeah, I know who you're
I'm not
talking
asking for any money. I'm not asking for anything. I'll help if I can, but don't waste my time. And he wasted my time. So I get a call 2 weeks later, and they go, hey, Nelson Madison, the company you decided to go with, has taken our film. They picked it up. We're making money. I said, well, good for you. And I never heard anything back.
That was the
And
guy.
like, you know what I'm talking about. And
That was the guy I did the movie for, where I broke the fight up with Eric Roberts. Busey.
yeah.
That's
So
the
it
guy.
was fine, but I just thought to myself, you know what? This guy, here's what I would have done for him. Because I have access to every distributor across the globe now, every platform. We've done very well with that. I would have given him a better deal. And I wasn't charging it. I said, dude, I'm doing this because you know Michael, and I'm not asking for anything, but it was the way he did it. And then the girl that they were involved with called back and she goes, oh, the film's distributed. Were we supposed to do anything for you? I said, I don't want anything.
You know what that's called, Del? That's called douchebaggery. That's called douchebaggery. Okay? All right? There's a different level of douchebaggery when it comes
Yeah, but
to
like I'm saying, it's
world of
cool,
martial arts.
but
It trips me out.
that's what stops things. You know, I was talking to Daniel Baldwin this morning. He called up and he said, hey, Del, what's going on? I go, well, I saw you got a new film. It's a documentary about his friend PJ and running with the bulls in Pamplona. It's actually a really, really cool movie documentary. It's the first time all the Baldwin brothers are in the same film at the same time.
Are they really?
So, yeah, and at the end of the film, I got to tell you, it's a great documentary. But at the very end of the film, Daniel gets on his knees and prays in the middle of this giant pen in Pamplona, Spain, where the bulls are. And it's something and you just went from being a movie to being Daniel's life, and it really matters and it means something, right? And that's important, and we have to honor that. But instead of him calling saying, I want to be my premiere on Friday, and I want this, and I want to, he said, how do I help you? What can I do for you today? I like that, man.
Yeah.
I like that. We got a lot of people like that.
Well,
Yeah,
Del,
we need more people like that. You know,
I know my partner's coming out there. I told you about Elmar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Old Stone Photos with Old Stone Pictures. Did you see the part I'm in with the helicopter?
Yeah.
You believe that he did CGI in a helicopter?
Oh, that clip you showed me?
That's the thing.
That was good.
And let me tell you, he did it on a penny. He had nothing. And he's I have to tell you, he's probably one of the most talented filmmakers out there. This guy is hot, and I'm happy. I mean, he took me in as a producer with him, and I'll be doing other films and stuff. But the guy is phenomenal. And when I saw what he did with that, there was no helicopter or anything there. We were on a roof in Brooklyn, and he did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. But I'm glad he's
fight
coming
scenes
out.
were pretty good there, Alan.
Yeah,
The fight scenes were pretty good.
Give his name and pump him up. You didn't say his name. I think you've already heard his name.
Elmar Bayramov.
Elmar Bayramov. Listen, I want you to tell Elmar to send me his film. I'll take care of it, and I'll get him waivers so he can enter it. But I'd love to support in some way.
Okay, I'll give you a number and talk to you back and forth, whatever. But a great guy.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
What a talented man. But also, something else we talked about a couple of months ago, I still got my 24-hour-a-day channel going up. Okay?
Yeah.
We finally got the content. I got 300 movies as of now. Run Shaw movies, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee movies, everything going up. And this year, I was talking to you about doing something special with you guys, but it'll have to be for next year because we're just starting off. But next year, I'm going to come out. Next year, I want to come out with a film crew, take all your winners in the martial arts or fight genre, whatever it is, and do a special show. And we're going to put it on air. So every one of your people,
wherever you need, and I'll tell you, there's an older producer named Dick Enright, and he made all these big TV shows through the years. And his producing partner was Susan Stafford. Some of you may not be
my
old
friend
enough to
Susan.
know. Yeah, Susan was the first host on Wheel of Fortune. Then she went on to marry a couple of billionaires, and then she threw them away and decided to
start guys. Yeah.
And so she ended up in Mother Teresa for decades or something. That's back. And she's doing some stuff with this show that is absolutely amazing. But if you guys will like the contacts that these people have are amazing. She was Dick Enright's producer. So what happened was I was talking to a few people, and she's got this library, and it's 2,500 TV and game shows.
Wow!
And they're sitting in a facility, this air-cooled facility, right? So I talked to a few people. You know what I'm talking about. I talked to a few people. He will remain nameless. And I said, listen, I want to buy that library because I'm building a library to put on networks. And they said, yes, we made the deal 3 months ago, and now we're transferring the tapes. And it's 2,500 original television shows from Dick Enright. And then, of course, we have our own library, which is action films, shorts, interview shows, and all that other stuff that we're working on. Now, we have our own thing called the AOF channel, which you know about, but I have content I can absolutely bring to you. And if you want to do an AOF Alan Goldberg network type of a thing, a grouping, we used to supply films for groups like Shorts TV and others as distributors. We can do a platform where if you say, Del, this is the focus of our films, and I can make the deals with our filmmakers that when they win, they get to screen on your network for 2 or 3 months or something. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So we'll shoot the interviews at our show. Then you have those for your channel, and you're good to go. We can absolutely work. That would be a wonderful co-production. Absolutely.
And then we go back to helping each other. That's what we got to do.
Well, it is.
Well,
there's so many people out there right now getting into the industry, and they get lost. They don't know where to go. But there are guys out there
now, man. It's different. The false pandemic screwed a lot of people. It ruined a lot of movies. I still think about like the James Bond film and the $500 million they spent on that thing to have it destroyed. You know, and that's multiplied by thousands and thousands of films and television shows and people's careers. All this waste for nothing. So yeah, it's changed, but I think that people don't trust the majors as much anymore. And they're saying, you know what, I better rely on me. I kind of like my ideas, and I can go shoot them. And if you got any balls, you know, put it to paper. Let's go.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, it's great being in a big production, Del. But when you're working on independent films, you there's so much more you can put into it, and so much more you can get out of it. You know,
and also you control it. See, this is the other side of it, right? Like I've got 5 new films coming out. Old King Cole is coming out right before the festival. Then we have Trick, which is a film that they made about my history and my street fights over like 25 years working in 3 particular nightclubs that I worked at in LA. So it's like real history of what I did and how many there's witnesses to everything. So it's kind of fun. So they made a movie that's called Trick. And that's coming out. And we've got Keith Brooks from The Walking Dead plays my nemesis. And we have Rob Kralgo from Vampire Diaries, and Batman plays the dirty cop. And then my wife is played by the beautiful Eugenia Kuzmina. She's a supermodel who's married to the head of Miramax, Bill Block. And she got the script. She said, yes, I'll do it. And she was magnificent. So we're putting all these things to come out. But the beauty of it is we own all the profit. Mm-hmm. Very low investment, and the range of profitability is very high if you do a good job.
It's all about content. You have to own your content in order to monetize it. Vinny, you can add anything you want. You can add more.
Del, you're a smart business guy. I've been involved with 3.
Don't tell Dr. Bob that.
No, well, nobody tells Dr. Bob anything.
I do.
He said it 2 years ago. He goes, I said, what'd you think? That was great. He goes, this was a shit show.
But you're making a good point about independent film.
Is that the one you had Frank Dukes at, though?
No, hey.
Listen, I'm still freaked out by looking at his bally bed, that 10-foot-10 with the gargoyles hanging off his house, whatever that is. Yeah, that crazy. He says, you're going to stay in here. I'm like, the Exorcist lives in here. I'm staying over there.
Dr. Bob.
And then you went to that fancy bathtub, right?
Right.
No, then I was roommates. Roommates with Jason. Remember? Jason Lau. And Jason, we were like, he's got 97 rooms. Why we got to share a room? Oh, what is this?
Dr. Bob is, the funny thing, but I think we all know him, but I think nobody really knows him, man. I think we all know him, but nobody knows. And it's kind of
I call him Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
people
Bruce Wayne.
Who he is. I go, he's Bruce Wayne.
Dr. Bob,
I don't know if you know, but
he's a great guy, though. He's great.
I'm the one that brought him into the martial art world.
You are.
Really?
You are. I remember that.
I met him through
So it's your fault.
Yep.
Yeah, and we became very good friends. And ironically, his brother lives 4 blocks away from me, so it became a whole thing. But I brought Dr. Bob into it, and there's places where he'll say that I'm his mentor because he didn't know anyone. He was a black belt already, but he didn't know anyone. And he is the type of guy, once you meet him, you love him. You got to.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, he's a part of our family, Alan. That's what it comes down to. Yep.
You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting to turn on Fox News one night, and it says Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin murdered in their sleep. Their bodies dropped to the White House. A mysterious figure was caught leaving. And you see a picture of Dr. Bob looking over his shoulder.
Doing push-ups.
I'm waiting for that newscast, man.
Oh,
doing push-ups.
But I want to say about the independent filmmaking, get back to that.
Oh, my God. Look at this. We're talking about Dr. Bob, and he's calling me right now.
You know, this guy, tell him, listen, you're in the middle of a taping. Can't he see the green lights on? What does he think he's doing?
Dr. Bob, I'm talking to Alan Goldberg, and they're saying that to you.
How come he can never make it know when he's a guest?
I think he hung up.
Is he coming on?
Hey, look,
wait.
How come he can interrupt the show, but he can't make the show? That don't make any sense.
Hey,
Dr. Bob.
It's good because Bruce Wayne is a little
Can you hear
busy.
him, Dr. Bob?
Yeah.
All right.
That's his spidey sense is working.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, I'm electronically challenged that you can get the Chrome to work, but at least they have some real stars on the show.
Thank you very much.
I got you covered for next week.
Right. Dr. Bob.
Yeah. He's coming on next week.
So, getting back to the story.
Getting back to the Vinny question for the past 10 minutes.
The independent filmmakers, the great thing is, yes, you got control of the movie. The bad thing is, if you get partners with the wrong idiot that thinks he's a businessman and he falls in love with his movie and he destroys everything. I watched street deals go down. All the guy had to do was shake a guy's hand, doubled his money, got his distribution deal, but he couldn't step away from thinking it was, oh, this is my Gone with the Wind, my whatever. You had I set him up with Legendary Films, a guy. He went through Walden, all these things. We had a movie that was called The Flyboys, who did for $2.2 million. Stephen Baldwin, myself, Tom Sizemore. We shot it up in Utah, in St. George.
I remember that movie, yeah.
We won every festival. I brought the actual films. It was before. I'm carrying those discs.
You're carrying those films. Yeah.
The actual reels.
Yeah, really.
So, Maron, yeah, that's why he gave me the job, because I could carry the reels. That's why. So, but we won all these film festivals, first place, and then he gets all these meetings, but the guy cannot land a deal because he won't give up Final Cut. And they keep telling him nobody gets Final Cut on their first movie. Spielberg's not going to get it. J.J. Abrams, nobody. You don't have a track record. So he pulls it, he won't go. So now 4 months go by, he calls me and he says, nobody will take this movie. I left Hollywood. I said, I told you my man Bill Fay loved the movie. He said he likes it. I can get you a meeting, and why don't you see if he wants to buy it? He says, you can get me a meeting with Bill Fay? I said, yeah. I put a comedy show together, right? And who do I got? I got Sebastian, a few other guys on stage at a comedy show. We go in the back room.
I got Del on my show, and I want to put you on.
He goes into the back room. All he's got to do, my man offered him right there $4.4 million for a $2.2 million movie, a back-end deal. And listen, I see him. And Del, you're laughing because you know where I'm going.
I know where
this idiot wants to make it into a television show. Bill's the biggest Hollywood producer going. All you got to do is shake his hand. He'll give you $4 million. I get a 5%, $200,000 in my pocket. Right. Everybody's happy. The movie's out, and this guy gets himself a theatrical release. He said to the guy, "To make it in, can you help me make it into a TV show?"
Del on.
Was he getting mentorship from FD?
Listen, I got someone on. We just mentioned his name on the show. Our good friend Michael D. Pasquale.
Oh,
Michael!
how you doing,
Hello,
Michael?
Hey guys,
Michael, what are you doing, buddy? Can he hear it?
hanging in there best I can.
Yeah, we were just talking about Dell's show, and your name came up. So I I always think
His
of it
name
anyway.
didn't come up. I said,
So we had-
because of Michael, we're here. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Mike, we just want to wish you luck with everything you're doing. We know you'll find you. And Dell talks so highly of you. We had to give you a shout.
We love you.
I appreciate it. I love you guys, man. Thanks a million.
Bless, Michael.
Always sending prayers out to you, Michael. Always sending prayers.
All right, brother. Big.
Thanks. God bless, guys.
All right, buddy. God bless.
So in
Yes.
2000 and I'm sorry, in 1998, 96, I pick up the phone and I call this publishing company. I go, hey, can I speak to the publisher? And he goes, yeah, Mike Pasquale, what do you want? And I said, my name is Dell, and I've got these new tapes. They're called the Top 10 Techniques Every Martial Artist Should Know, and it stars Frank Trejo and James Abrao and Tom Serrano and Craig the Bullet Buchanan. And I had all these people I made these horrible martial arts tapes from. You send me your ad. So I had a little quarter-page ad, and I don't have a lot of money. He said, whatever. So I send it to him. In the next issue is Jean-Claude Van Damme in the cover of Karate International. That's what it was.
Right.
Now the inside cover said Dell EFC presents Dell Weston's Top 10 Techniques. He sold about 20,000 worth of those tapes with his full-page ad. Now remember, I called him again in 2005, and I go, Mr. D. Pasquale, I'm doing this show in Long Beach. He comes again. That's how he started with me with this. Then I called him again in 2015, and I say, hey, we're starting this thing. When he goes, no, you got to do legendary stunts and icons. You got to create that, right? You got to call Dr. Bob. So he puts that together. And then recently, my master instructor, Frank, he was diabetic. He lost his legs, his right arm, and his hands, and he was going to die. This was a couple of years ago. And I tell Mike, and I'm trying to do something, and we created something called the Black Belt in Humanity. Michael sent a check, and Robert Goldman sent a check. And those checks help bury Frank Trejo. So when I tell people, listen, it's all about more than just what dollar you made. It's about the people you engage with for a long period of time who will be there for you and for whom you can be there. That's all this amounts to. And I've never been on a podcast where two great guys call at the same time. This is fantastic.
Hey, that's what we said. We have no idea what we're doing, but it turns out well.
Together. Just comes together.
Great, guys.
And then we get that comedy from Vinny, and that's the best. That's the best.
Anyway, we're going to.
Hey, Vinny, I know that movie deal, and I've seen tons of them. There's a great actor named Dolph Lundgren, and I happened to be in a manager's office one time in Beverly Hills, and they were negotiating pay. I'm not going to mention names other than his because he was the star, but he had nothing to do with this other than I was sitting there, and the manager said, hey, don't show up at work tomorrow. I'm getting you an extra $100,000 to screw this guy over. And I sat there and I went, best education I could ever have right here. And it changed how I hired people. So for instance, we even do things differently now because people will do things just to screw you up and ask for more. We learned all that, 20 years ago.
So go back to the douchebaggery. It just comes in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
And
it's a genetic. You got to be genetically predisposed to douchebaggery. It might run like on your uncle's side.
It may. It runs through the blood.
Well, Dell, you know something?
My great-grandmother's father's side was a douchebag.
It's that string in your DNA. It just pops up, man. I don't know.
Once we had your show is over, let's get you back on with a basic a synopsis of everything that went on. Okay. I feel we've only been on 5 minutes, but we've been on almost.
I know, and it's already over. I know.
Yeah, but Del, before anything, give the information for your event, the dates, and your website and everything, so that people know.
Very simple. Action on Film International Film Festival. It's the AOF Megafest. The website is actiononfilmfest.com. Actiononfilmfest.com. And the dates are July 26th through August 1st. And the extension to August 1st is because there's going to be a private brunch for some of the biggest guests and special people we have coming, meaning the filmmakers and writers, but it's very private and very limited. And if you don't get...
that means, Vinny, we're not going to be able to go to that.
Don't worry about it. We go to the kitchen, Del.
Hey,
Vinny can never play. He never gets involved in the reindeer games. What's going on?
Well,
you better let Vinny
we're gonna have
know.
some fun. We're going to have some fun. That's all I can say. It's going to be a great show. Really great. And thank you for the opportunity to talk about it. I really appreciate it. Alan, I'll send you a wrap-up email about everything we're talking about tonight, so you'll see everything.
Yeah, but I definitely want to do another show with you and whatever. And
absolutely, man. And we'll get into some of the deeper martial arts stories of the story about being in Long Island doing a seminar with James Deborah, who was Ed Parker's very first black belt. Okay, and so I was selling these tapes called 5 Forms to Black. For an instructor, it's 1,000. For students, it's 300. But we would travel the country to support the program because it came from Jimmy Wing Woo, who you all know from the film The Killer Elite and all these other things. Mm-hmm. So I had to meet with him to get him to approve us doing these forms, and then Brow did it. So halfway through the New York trip, there's a school that has 500 students. They go, we want to come, we want to see C4 Brow. So I arranged it. We got this big place lined up, and they're going to buy 500 sets of tapes at $399, and then 20 instructor programs at $1,000 a piece. So we get there, and I just, hey, I'm going to New York. I'm going to find somebody pretty, and I'm going to spend some money. That's not mine tonight. This is going to be a great trip. And so we get there. There's all the students show up, and I'm getting the money ready and the tapes, and Sifu walks me and says, the guy had 10 belt stripes. And he says, do me a favor, young man. He says, you're the instructor. And the guy goes, yes, Sifu. He says, you're a 10th degree black belt. He says, yes, I am. He says, throw a front kick. And the guy throws a front kick. He goes, take your crappy students and get out of this building. Wow. He left. And I said, Sifu, you just cost us $300 times. It's $150K. He goes, the martial arts comes first. Oh, my God.
Well, you got to know who you travel with.
Del. Yeah. Did you throw a front kick at him as soon as you lost $150K?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a toss-up rate, $150 grand.
You guys remember Tino Tulavasanga and the rest of those guys back in the 60s and 70s, right? There was a cat named Tino Tulavasanga. He ran the Lima Lama schools. They were with Richard Rabago, I think. He and Tino separated, and I did one of their last shows, and so there was a fight that went on, and Tino was a drug enforcer. And a lot of people don't understand that. When he go to Mexico, 20,000 people would show up because the cartels were there. He was an enforcer. And he paid the price at one point in his life, unfortunately. But it ends up, so a few people wanted to start some trouble, and a Brow walked in. And the Brow was not a big guy. He was only like 5'7", 165 pounds. Mm-hmm. People were so scared of him. I don't know why, but we would travel. He would throw a look, man, and like 30 people would move. It was like being in Hong Kong with Henry Ho. I'll tell you about that too. But my God, this man had power. Not like Parker's power. Parker's power came from, in my opinion, from a dark source. And I'm not putting Parker down because I love him, but his power came from an absolutely dark source. And they told me the source of that power, where they got it from. It's a very interesting thing. Brow had something else, and no one would say anything to him except for me at the end because he was making so much money. We were doing so well together. And I would say, hey, do me a favor. Go in there and change your shirt. It's got a tight stay. I don't care. And he was just one of those guys, man. But these cats, the art came first. And that's all. That's all. So thank you for the opportunity to share some of this history and tell you about what we've been going on. I'd love to have you guys out for the show. Everyone's comped. Everyone has free passes. Get here. And the one person I really want to acknowledge this year is because he's unfortunately in a very bad way with cancer, and that is the great, great stunt legend, Bob Yerkes. He ran the Stunt Association for years and years, and he's a great friend of a friend of mine, Susan Stafford, who Vince you already know. And
yes, I do. I know. She's
wonderful. And she says, call him, I'll talk to him, because all the stunt people want to see him again. They all want to just see Bob Yerkes. And so I called him, and he said, I'll tell you what, kid. Can I talk about God for a couple minutes on the stage? I said, okay. He goes, I'll be there if I'm still alive. I mean,
that's so great.
It's just so we're going to have all these people who really care about the industry. They're coming. It's going to be great. And thank you guys. It's just such a great pleasure to be here. And thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, we have to have a part to this show.
We have to say salute to such a great actor that passed this week, Mr. Ned Beatty.
Yes. Yes.
We lost Ned Beatty this week. Oh, come on. There's so many great Ned Beatty stories. I loved him in Superman. I thought he was hilarious.
Listen, there is no better Ned Beatty film, and that was my homage to him just now.
Look, I was watching Shooter the other day. He was in Shooter too, but Mark Wahlberg.
Tied to the Tree in Deliverance. with the great.
Yeah, we don't like thinking about that. That's
no. Let me tell you something, man. No.
How about
don't even get close to the. Listen, that was not a bad thing. That movie put that man on the map for another.
Yes,
50
sir.
It's a bad thing when you're driving
yeah.
through the woods and you're by yourself. You don't know what.
Only if you're from the north.
Yep.
Only if you're from. I can't even go to Beverly Hills. What are you talking about? I can't.
Ding, 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 ding.
And Susan
my
lives in
God.
the woods.
We're
She
looking for
lives
the
in those
canoe.
trees, right? In the trees.
That's why I sold my ranch upstate New York. I didn't like the woods anymore.
You forget about this.
You guys are nuts.
Anyway, guys, let me do a close up here.
All right, Alan.
Del.
The floor is yours, Alan. Go.
Thank you. I just want to thank Del and, of course, Vinny and Lou to come on, sponsor Vero Hive and all our other sponsors that have been helping us along, publicizing what we do. I just love the audience. I get so many nice emails from people and little things. People said the show was hysterical. It was great. And again, we still have no idea what the hell we're doing, but we do it. So I just want to thank everyone. We're going to get back to Del. Next week, we got Dr. Bob on the show. If we can get through some of the problems with him, but we're going to get him on. And we're going to get Michael on again. We're going to get Michael on again also at the same time. Sure. So I just want to thank everyone. Del, thank you very much. It's an honor. And I look at you right now as someone that can help me along with the magazine because you do have a lot of connections with people, whatever. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm honored. Again, any last words, Vin?
See you, and I wish you well. I hope that the event is spectacular now that everybody's back out and everything's open. And Lou, thank you so much. And Alan, thank you for everything you do for me and for everyone. Thank you so much.
My honor. Yeah. My honor. Anyway, Lou, anything else before we go?
No, we have a lot of things that we're going to go over the next show. We are going to have Dr. Bob on. You know, we're dealing with his technical difficulties. We'll bring him on. Then, we got to have him. We got to have him.
We got to bring on King Kong. When he comes on, you got to throw King Kong on there.
We have Mothra. Watch out.
We had Mothra.
Did you say Mothra?
Godzilla. Del, did you see that? You didn't see that episode, Del. You'll pee your pants. You gotta go see it.
I want to thank you for having King Kong Bundy on again. It was a wonderful show.
Have you seen King Kong Bundy? I looked
Pass it up.
Oh, my God.
He did pass away. Thank you, everyone. Anyway, we're going to everyone here just hang out because after we finish filming, we want to talk on our own anyway. Thank you. God bless. We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.
God bless.
God bless.